everyone, and welcome along to this month's edition of Data Insight Action. This series is designed to take some data, whether it's from research or from operational best practice, and look at the insight that we get from data and how we then apply that into our day-to-day operations. And this week, I am delighted to be joined by Lee, National Fitness Manager from One Life. So hi, Lee, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, happy to be here.
Good. Well, thanks for your time. Today, we're going to talk about cancellations, which is, let's face it, something that operators don't really want to talk about because we'd much rather that we're keeping our members. And with so much focus and emphasis on acquisition, I was really keenly to talk to you about your approach with your cancellations. And we obviously work together with a platform called Recovery Focus. So talk to us about Recovery Focus, Lee, and why you felt that was a platform that you wanted to include in your customer experience management arsenal.
Yeah, so as you said, there's a key focus on new joiners and acquisitions, but we feel it's equally as important that we put as much emphasis on cancellations. The cancellation process is a really key part of our overall member journey.
Yeah.
And Recovery Focus gives us that opportunity to really acknowledge the cancellations, thank people for being members with us, and process their cancellation really professionally, rather than just being sent off to our direct debit agency and it just being another transaction. We want to sort of intercept that cancellation and give a really good final impression of the company and of the centre that the member was a member of.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point, isn't it? With all that emphasis and spotlight on the onboarding process, which of course is really important, but we want to ensure that our members have a complete, thorough and positive experience, whether it is the end of the relationship or, and as we've discovered through the insight that we've had from Recovery Focus, is there an opportunity to signpost that member into another area of the centre? And it gives us an opportunity to really understand and learn the reasons why they are looking to leave, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we get a lot of feedback, as you know, through Recovery Focus, the reason why people joined in the first place, which opens up the conversations that we have with them when they decide they want to leave, and then also the reasons why they want to leave. And a lot of the times, I know a lot of companies in our industry that do exit questionnaires or online surveys. Very often, the reason that people put down on that survey isn't the real root cause of the reason why they want to leave. And often by having that honest and open conversation, you get a lot of insight into how your centre's performing, how your company's performing, and then you can build up a lot of rapport at the end of the relationship. And often, as I'm sure we'll come on to in a minute, you can find a way to convince the member that they actually do want to stay with you. You know, you maybe fix what little problem they had or put something in place, and ultimately you can keep them as a member, which is our overall goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, people are often looking to leave. They just don't know why they want to stay. Something isn't quite working out for them. So again, without having that opportunity to engage, as you say, on the cancellation forms, it'll be things like relocation or whatever it may be, but it won't be the true reason of actually, I was expecting to receive this, but this was my true experience. So knowing that, the reasons why people are leaving and having those conversations, talk to us, Lee, a bit about the toolbox that you have within Recovery Focus and then how that support your member ultimately.
Yeah, there's various things we can do. So one of the key ones, and this comes a lot across when I speak to the sites, people are cancelling because potentially they've got work issues or they've got injuries or illnesses or financial reasons, and they don't realise that we offer a membership freeze option. So that's one thing that Recovery Focus is brilliant for. Rather than just automatically cancelling memberships, we can put somebody on a freeze for 3 months or 4 months or however long it may be. And then when their circumstances change, their membership rejoins and they're still with us. We retain them. They're happy because they've had that period to get in a better place to start exercising again. And it works really well for us.
Yeah, that's great. Having that option to freeze is really important, as you say, because so many members will think that isn't an option. So they'll go for the full cancellation, whereas at least you can still engage and keep them in or stay in their mind, I suppose.
Yeah.
We recently held a session with your centre managers and your champions for Recovery Focus, which was really great because everyone was so passionate about how they could find a way to not only retain the member, but stay true to the reason why you do what you do in the first place, which is to help people get active, make a real difference in people's lives. So within your toolbox, there are other opportunities, aren't there, such as complimentary one-to-one sessions, etc., that can
That's
help them?
right. Yeah, we offer sort of free PT sessions or refresher sessions, and we get them in for another in-body scan, body composition scan, which we offer at all of our sites. There's lots of different things we can do, but the key thing is finding out the real reason why somebody's thinking of leaving.
Yeah.
Once you've done that, there's often things we can put in place. As we said before, it's very rarely the reason that they put on the form.
Yeah.
So finding the root cause and then having that open and honest conversation with them, there's often lots you can do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think on that point, again, what really came through for me when I was working with your team is that sense of empowerment, actually, that actually we can use this toolbox to ensure that our members do stay with us. So that was also a really interesting side. So Lee, what would you say to other operators who, particularly at this time of the year, you know, as we've had the New Year rush, and now obviously March is hitting, and we might start to see a slight increase in cancellations. Yeah. What would you say to operators to really help retain those members?
Well, I suppose this is slightly going off subject slightly here, but rather than trying to retain them, if the conversation is just about leaving a really good last impression, as it says here on the screen, we know in the industry up to 25% of our new joiners have been members with us before. So it's really important to acknowledge the cancellation, thank them for being a member with us, leave a really good positive impression, and let them know that they can come back and join us again when the situation changes. And I think that's the best way to approach these conversations. And then I think, again, as I touched on before, during those conversations, you're always going to get a certain proportion who don't really want to leave. They just want to be heard. You know, this is just their method of communication to let you know they've got a problem or an issue or a complaint that they want dealing with. So this is the best way of doing it. And then, as it says again on the screen, using our toolbox. So we said here, freeze options, free PT, those kind of things. Using those tools in your arsenal just to convince somebody that the best thing they can do is stay with you. Even if it's offering them a free month, 1 free month, let us prove that your issue, let's say, for argument's sake, they were complaining about the showers being cold, if you can fix that issue and then give them a 3 months membership for them to come again and allow you to prove that issue is now resolved, often you can keep them for a lot longer, and it works perfectly. So yeah, that's what I'd say, really. Just taking the time and putting as much effort into cancellations as we do into new joiners, I think will really reap rewards.
Yeah, I think that's a game changer, absolutely. And of course, Lee, from a day-to-day perspective, I know that you're in the system a lot, looking at the stats coming through. What do you do with this data? How does that then go across to all of your centres?
Yeah, so it's something I do centrally. I report on the data every week, so every Friday morning. I send it out across the business, showing how many of the cancellations we've dealt with personally in site, and obviously the target there is to deal with 100% of our cancellations. It's not always possible. We've got 3 days to deal with them before they're sent off automatically to our third-party direct debit collections agency. But ideally, we want to speak to 100% of those cancellations and trying to retain them. So we look at that, and I report on that, and I also report on the number that we've retained. So we aim for 5%. Some centres are better than others, and that's another reason why we report on the data. Those centres that are doing really well, we like to share best practice. The centres that perhaps aren't doing so well, that's where I can step in and do a little bit more training. Whereas you've done recently, you can help us out with a little bit of expert training as well. So it's just keeping a focus on it, really. Everybody knows we have league tables coming out every single day, every week, every month, about how many new joiners we've had. But unless we're looking at this information, we're unaware of how many cancellations we're receiving until we get that report from our collections agency at the end of the month. And I don't think that's how it should be. I think they should have equal weighting, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's great that you've got that complete visibility from start to the end. So that's great. Thank you, Lee. Well, I mean, it's been great talking through how you guys use Recovery Focus to support your complete member experience. And I think that's the really key takeaway for me from this, that actually for you guys, it's much more about the bigger picture and how you can ensure that that last impression is always a positive one with your member. So Lee, thank you for your time today. Details are here on the screen if anyone would like to reach out and speak to you directly for your thoughts and your feedback on your customer's experience, or of course my details are here. But thanks again, Lee, and I'll speak to you again soon.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye.